Side with Cleveland's best coverage. This is News Channel 5.
Investigators dubbed him the early morning rapist. One suspect, 2 rapes, 2 communities on edge. Today, police put a name and face on him and soon after slapped handcuffs on their suspect.
Either way it goes, I'm glad they got the rapist off the street.
Cleveland police nabbed the suspect in their rape case, and now investigators are determining if the same man is responsible for the rape in Lakewood as well. Good evening. I'm Danita Harris.
And I'm Lee Jordan. News Channel 5's Paul Kiska first broke the news when police named James W. Daniel III as their suspect. Paul, you were on scene just as they made the arrest.
Lee, truly a remarkable morning and turn of events here. Just after 11 o'clock this morning, Cleveland police rushed out a mugshot of perhaps arguably the most wanted man in Cleveland. They put out that mugshot. Less than an hour later, they closed in on him, had him surrounded, and made that key arrest of a man believed to be the early morning rapist. Cleveland police and U.S. Marshals arrested James Daniel III on West 87th just before noon between Detroit and Lake Avenue, after police and prosecutors say a DNA hit linked Daniel to a rape of a jogger at West 104th. Neighbors took pictures of the arrest today.
8 cop cars showed up and they were all surrounding. They were just surrounding the house, and then after a while, the guy came out and they had him in handcuffs. And then
I knock on my door, borrow tools, and asked to borrow. They didn't have silverware and stuff, a couple of spoons and cups. He speak to me every morning.
Then we saw the brother show up, and he showed up, and they put him in handcuffs.
We received a phone call from our forensic science lab that they had a DNA hit on our suspect, James Daniel III.
There were a number of early morning incidents with this fellow, so we gave the title, and we'll see if he lives up to it. We don't know if he's a serial rapist yet or not.
And today culminated in the arrest of a person that shouldn't be on our streets.
All right, now police are still waiting for DNA test results from the medical examiner to see if they can connect Daniel to the rape on Warren between Madison and Franklin and Lakewood. That one happening early morning, August 31st. This story takes yet another turn. Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Tim McGinty said Daniel's half-brother, Tyson Alexander Williams, was arrested and will be questioned in connection with other crimes, and that his phone was used in connection with that 104th Street rape. And multiple sources telling me that Williams was arrested a year ago in an eerily similar rape. Those charges were later dropped, but now investigators going back to relook at why those charges were dropped in that case. Live from the Justice Center tonight, where both men are being questioned, I'm Paul Kiska, News Channel 5.
And Paul, I understand that while this arrest was going down, there was an out-of-town church group across the street doing some work?
Lee, this was just a surreal scene out there on West 87th between Detroit and Lake. So you have the police, the sheriff's department, U.S. Marshals, guns drawn, the house is surrounded, people in handcuffs. Across the street, right across the street, a youth group from a church in Cincinnati in town on West 87th, volunteer work to rehab an elderly woman's house. They were indeed shocked.
No doubt. What a story. Paul, thank you. The arrest of this suspect also putting people in Lakewood a little more at ease. News Channel 5's Deborah Lee talked to people there just as they heard the news.
Yes, I talked with people in Lakewood today, and they were very happy and very relieved that a suspect had been arrested in Cleveland, and they really hope that this takes a rapist off the streets of Lakewood.
It looks like any other mid-September day in Lakewood. People are doing yard work, riding their bikes, deliveries are being made. But for women who live and work here, it's also a day of cautious optimism following the arrest in the Cleveland rape case.
Well, I'm glad they caught somebody. I just hope it's the right person. I mean, I used to sit outside in the morning. Now I don't sit outside. I come in the back here. I don't sit outside.
Kim Backey lives very close to the site where a Lakewood woman was raped 2 days before the Cleveland attack. Lakewood police are continuing to investigate that case and have not charged anyone. But the chief says the suspect arrested in Cleveland is a person of interest. And word of that arrest spread through Dawn Steele's Lakewood office like wildfire.
We were elated. I mean, we're women. We're working after hours sometimes, and even before, normal people come outside, like this jogger. So it's very important that they did get a handle on this, because no telling how many people he's raped.
Even men here who have wives and daughters have been more careful since the rape.
Making sure that not going out alone after dark, make sure we always have lights and somebody with.
Others say they've refused to let the rape alter their lives.
I think Lakewood overall is a safe community. So it happened, and hopefully we won't hear any more about it. Hopefully you got the right guy and we can all go on with our lives.
But again, the Lakewood police will only say that the person arrested in Cleveland is a person of interest. They are still investigating that case. I'm Deborah Lee.
And Deb, we are learning tonight that this isn't the first brush with the law for Daniel. On your side, Chief Investigator Ron Regan joins us live in the newsroom. And Ron, you did some digging today, and you learned that Daniel has a long criminal history and was just in a courtroom 3 days ago.
Well, that's right. Daniel was in a Cleveland municipal courtroom this past Monday on a petty theft case. A security guard says Daniel was caught on surveillance tape stealing $127 worth of shower curtains from a Home Depot. That was on August 27th, 5 days before a woman was raped on September 2nd. He was detained by that guard but let go when Cleveland police did not respond. Home Depot filed charges anyway, but we've got a whole lot more on him. Back in 2000, Daniel pleaded guilty to burglary and was sentenced to a year in prison. 3 years later, he pleaded guilty to receiving stolen property and spent 9 months behind bars. A year later, in 2004, he began another 5 years in prison for felonious assault. And in 2010, Daniel was back in prison again, this time for robbery. In fact, Daniel just got out of prison last March, and he was first picked up by Cleveland police a few months later, in June, for driving with a revoked driver's license. Court records show Daniel lives on the same street where that September 2nd rape occurred, but about a mile away. Live in the newsroom, I'm Chief Investigator Ron Regan.
As investigators continue to gather evidence in the early morning rapes, you can count on News Channel 5 and Newsnet5.com to keep you updated. We'll have the latest on the investigation, the suspect, and any charges filed both on air and online.